Okay, biological amplification of pesticides. Matter is continually entering ecosystems. What if some of the matter entering a food chain it was harmful? How would it affect it? Well, biological amplification or magnification is a buildup of toxic chemicals in tissues of organisms as you move up the food chain. Therefore, the higher the trophic level, the greater the concentrations. Now, the case study here is DDT that you need to know. Um, and it's famous in birds of prey for affecting their eggshells. They become thin because the calcium isn't allowed to deposit in the eggshells and they crack. And so these birds of prey, like peregrine falcons, plummeted here in Alberta. Okay, so the number of species in Canada decreased so dramatically that they were close to extinction. Okay, so how does DDT work? Why does it move up in the food chain? Well, if we add pesticides to the water, that's going to do a great job of killing off pests, notably mosquitoes. Okay. Now, if we take animals that are filter feeders, and they had taken a few molecules of this, when there's my producers, okay, the algae, let's call it, okay, and they get absorbed, and now my primary consumers eat a few molecule piece of algae, because gets stored in the fat. Each one of these will have 3 or 4 molecules of algae, but then small fry, the small fish. Secondary consumers will eat like zillions of these. Now let's just for this diagram say it's going to eat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and each one of these has got 10 pieces in it. Then each small fry would now have 5 times 10, 50 pieces of DDT. Now, obviously, the numbers are much bigger. Now, let's take a look at our tertiary consumer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fish. 6 times 5 means that this is going to have 300 pieces of DDT in it. Now, over a lifetime, let's say this bird eats 10 fish. It's going to eat a lot more. Let's say 100 fish, okay, over a lifetime. Then we're going to have 3 with 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, 30,000 pieces. Now, we don't measure it in pieces, we measure it in parts per million. Fraction goes up, increases a fold, 10 million fold. Now, we can look at this also with methyl mercury smokestacks. Lake Wabamun, okay, well, is shutting down smokestacks. That's good because of all the tiny little particulate matters of coal that are produced, but also methyl mercury. Okay, so CH3, Hg is mercury. Okay, now that gets into the water, it does the same thing. And that's going to affect humans because humans get mercury and we get nerve damage. Now, pesticides, as I mentioned, one of the main pesticides in the world is to kill off malaria, and that's DDT. And this guy here is spraying DDT. Okay, malaria it kills millions and millions of people, all in the areas of green here. Okay, so it's understandable why developing countries would want to introduce DDT. Now, the case of peregrine falcons in Alberta, here's Alberta. The peregrine falcons fly down to areas, notably right here, where there is DDT still. So when they come back and have their chicks, very few chicks were surviving until they started doing all sorts of conservation efforts to increase the numbers and starting to ban DDT as well. Now, this is a very interesting case study. Pesticides, negative effects on ecosystems. Eliminating insect species on a small island, and this was in Borneo, okay, or islands around Indonesia, Yeah, Borneo, there it is, okay. Using DDT reduced the spread of malaria. But take a look at what happened here. So we get malaria, DDT, we're gonna kill it off, okay? But what happened is it eliminated a natural predator for the thatch eating roof, okay? Because DDT also killed these guys as well. Well, here are these caterpillars that eat the thatched roofs in Borneo, and the predator's gone. So guess what? The people never had roofs. Caterpillars ate the roofs of the villagers. Well, and remember, it was meant to kill, it was implemented by the World Health Organization. You might have heard of them. They're the folks that brought you the response to COVID. Okay, so the byproduct of biomagnification DDT, poisoning in cats caused an outbreak of a plague. Okay, so DDT accumulated in geckos, and because of this, as the cats died, the rat population flourished, and so did an outbreak of the plague. And eating geckos caused more DDT accumulates and eventually killed the cats. The wild cats died off, okay, because of this food chain. Now the rats go up, and we get both plague and homelessness on the island of Borneo, all because you're trying to get rid of the mosquito. So this is a very good example of tampering with the delicate balance in nature, in this case of pesticides. And this was in the 1945 7 Time magazine, DDT. So people in Alberta, uh, old folks would still have DDT in their garages and things like that until fairly recently. So this raises a question: do we have DDT in our bodies? Absolutely. We would have DDT in our fat if we were to analyze our fat tissues.